Yeah, yeah, good. Right, so we've got James McCrae, who's responsible, the key man, I think, aren't you, James, for pulling all this together with the virtual national road relay that kicks off tomorrow through to Wednesday. Do you want to say a little bit about broadly about what the event involves?
Yeah, so I'm appear to be I'm kind of the unofficial event director now. So basically, the event will involve basically it replaces the initial road relay event, the initial 12 and 6 stage. I think a few people, so like yourself, Mark, Matty Dendani, Belgrave, all kind of recognised that that was kind of a gap in the calendar, and we saw an opportunity with kind of virtual racing to still be able to hold the 12 stage.
Yeah.
I know there's a few kind of discussions on Twitter, and I think someone eventually suggested maybe holding like a big national scale event, and it kind of took off from there, and I got involved, and we started. So we literally started from one tweet, and now we're at the point where we've got over 5,000 entries starting tomorrow.
How did you end up with the job being the central man? I wasn't quite sure how you got nominated. Was it Massey or someone nominated?
I think I just saw the tweet come out on your account, to be honest, and that with Massey as well, and thought it's kind of I'm a statistician at the ONS as well, so I'm sure lots of them into my running as well. And I've done a little bit of stuff with the Birmingham Uni track meets over the past couple of years as well. So I thought it was kind of a good thing I'd be involved with and organised. I didn't think it would take quite so much work. I wasn't expecting quite so many entries, but it's been really good thing to be part of. I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone gets on as well.
Yeah, we'll just explain to you as the National Road Relay. It takes part annually at Sutton Coldfield, doesn't it? In Sutton Park, and it's typically men's team of 12 and a women's team of 6. It's over legs of 5 miles and 3 miles roughly, isn't it? It's a very traditional thing. And you've, or we, or whoever has decided we're going to standardise it on 5K, make it a bit easier. That's one big difference, isn't it, from the actual relay?
Yeah, we decided that it'd just be easiest just to simplify it, and rather than put pressure on clubs to have to nominate someone to run a 12 or sort of run like a 10K or a 5K leg, we thought that'd probably make things maybe a tad too complicated. The initial inspiration from the event was, I think Thames Valley and Herne Hill did a little head-to-head competition a couple of weeks ago.
It's Belgrave, isn't it? Belgrave.
Oh no, sorry, Belgrave and Herne Hill, yeah. And they that little head-to-head competition, I know they wrote a little article about it that's on like the Belgrave Twitter blog, which is well worth a read if anyone gets a chance. And I know some Thames Valley people were also involved in doing something similar for their club, because Thames Valley it's people from Thames Valley who are behind the open track platform that are hosting the relays, all the entries and results for that as well.
Yeah. Now you yourself run for Hallamshire, don't you? But you train down in Cardiff. And you're not a bad runner yourself. 152, 800, 347, 1500. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a bit all over the place. I'm on a graduate program at the moment, so I end up getting a chance to move around the country a bit. Really, it's been quite privileged, really, to train with quite a wide range of top coaches, really. So there's been part of the Birmingham Uni setup. I've been under like Bud Baldaro, also obviously Luke Gunn was also involved there. Then I've been I've trained with Keith Whiteland's Hallamshire group up in Sheffield. He coaches guys like Cam Bell, and then down I'm down at Cardiff. I'm training with a really good group led by James Thee. He's obviously got some top guys, lots of guys like Jake Smith, who broke the British under-23 half marathon record fairly recently. I think Kieran Lewis, who's like a sub 30 10K guy. James Hennigan, who was second at Bucks Indoor 15 this year as well. So there's so many great guys to work off and train with down there.
And you obviously love the sport. So, are you actually going to be doing a 5K leg yourself?
I'm optimistic. I've actually I've had a little bit of a calf injury fairly recently, which hasn't helped. I exacerbated it by thinking it was a good idea to get around 10k at the Inter-Counties cross country with a slightly dicky calf. But on the men now, I managed to run I did 5 miles easy the other day, so I'm going to leave it right to the end of the entry window, probably on Tuesday or Wednesday, and try and get a leg done.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I checked on Tunbridge, and we've got close to 50 entries in there. I should say I'm team manager and a coach at Tunbridge, so that's my sort of link to the relay. We would have put out a team for Sutton Coldfield. Hopefully, if we qualified the men's team from the Southern, so we would, traditionally we're there, so hopefully we would have had a strong team and done quite well. But we've got about 50 entries, but in total, like you say, you've got 5,000, and there's some big names dotted not just over this country, but they're abroad as well at the moment, aren't they? A few of them, so it should be quite interesting. You've got some names, haven't you?
Yeah, we even had a few from the States. I think it's I know one of the United States Unions also actually got involved with it as well now. In terms of names that we've got involved, we've got guys like Sam Stabler, who's run a 13:35k. James West as well, one of your Tunbridge guys, one of the best 1500 metre runners in the country. Holly Archer, Carl Avery, Jess Gibbon, Johnny Davis is another one of Birmingham guys that I know, who won the 3k at British Indoors fairly recently. Kieran Clements, Josh Griffiths, who's obviously better known for his success over the longer distances in the marathons. Chris Ollie, Phil Norman, obviously a very accomplished steeplechaser. Nicole Taylor, so another Tunbridge one. And Mark Scott as well. That's kind of for my initial list. We've actually had a few more then since Enter Today. Looking at that, we've now got a lot of the Brighton Phoenix guys have entered. So Charlie Grice. Also, I just heard another quite big name, Spencer Thomas, George Mills, the national indoor 1500 metre champion, is also in that. Is also there now. We actually crunched a few numbers as well. Or a mate of mine, Johnny Curry, who's quite good at the stats kind of things, has crunched a few numbers for me in the last couple of hours. He reckons we have 29 men entered who have previously run sub 14. In terms of the teams, we reckon the women's side, there's over 60 complete teams of 12 entered,
really?
6 of which are B teams.
Yeah.
And an additional 69 teams on top of that have a scoring 6, but not a scoring 12. Then on the men's side, we reckon if everyone runs, there is 196 complete teams of 12, which is absolutely amazing.
Oh God!
And within that, we also believe we've got 21 people who have won a British title at some point in their career.
Johnny got plenty of time on his hand to work this out.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know how he found it. 65 people who have represented GB as well, which is amazing, really.
Crikey. There's not many races like this, are there? I know a few of the guys who are in the States are complaining they've got stuck at altitude, so going to be at a disadvantage. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens and what these people are like on their own, middle of nowhere, giving it a good crack over 5k, isn't it?
Yeah, the old kind of how motivated people are going to be to get out and have a bit of a blast for their club. Really, I guess is the thing. Yeah. I think tactics could come into play quite a lot as well, because people will be able to sort of see what others have done before it.
Yeah.
So whether people all try and get out and get a good time on the board early, the first day of the window being tomorrow on Saturday.
Yeah.
Or whether they leave it late and go towards the end of the window like Tuesday or Wednesday. I think that could be quite an interesting thing to see how clubs choose to play it.
Yeah, they're only allowed to log one time, but is there any objection to them going out and doing one tomorrow morning and then not being happy with it and doing it again on Wednesday? That's just going to happen, I suppose, isn't it?
I think there's no way of controlling it, so yeah, I'm quite happy for people to go out and do that if they say wish.
So, have you been working this week as well?
I've been trying to balance it. Yeah.
Times it's taken up.
I've been trying to work. So I'm civil servant, so we're working. I'm working from home at the moment, so I'm doing like 8 till 4 doing my day job, and then I'm trying to sort of organise and respond to emails in the evenings as well when I can.
Yeah. And what's it been like? Pretty hectic?
Hectic. I've had over 100 emails today, which has been fun.
Oh, well
Which is
done.
that we have to be fair. We've had a little bit. There was a little bit of a server issue because a lot of people tried to register near the deadline, which was midday today, which is kind of contributed to that. But it's been hectic, but it's been fun. Obviously, Open Track as well. They were doing the system. They've had a lot of stuff as well come through. And they've done a really good job with that, and I think we're very much now in place to have to start properly tomorrow.
Yeah, because normally they're used to doing track meetings. We used them last August for the Tunbridge Twilight meeting, and they were pretty good. You know, they enabled almost online live results system, entries and results system, and that works well. But this is probably slightly different for them, I guess. Is it? What have they said? What have they had to say about it?
It is quite unique for them. So they'd run like the Herne Hill v Belgrave meet, but obviously only involved like 24 people. So it's quite a bit different now. So they've had to almost completely redesign some of their software to do this. So they've had to set up a unique like results form which people will fill in and embed like a link from their Strava, and have like an option for people to embed like their Strava link or a Garmin Connect link.
Yeah.
And the hope is that then it will produce on the results page, everyone will be able to sort of see the runs that everyone else has done as well as their times, which also is quite useful from my perspective. It means I can check that people are sort of following the rules. It also means everyone can sort of self-regulate and check no one else is cheating as well.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that.
Everyone just fancy bending the rules slightly.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. We're spot on, don't worry. Yeah, so just going through the people that helped, other people you want to give a bit of a shout out to that have helped. I mean, you mentioned Johnny Curry. He's done a fair bit of work for you, yeah?
Yeah, so Johnny's done a lot of the stats for me as well. Also use him a lot just to bounce ideas off, and he did the initial graphic for me that's gone out. I guess other people give a shout out to guys at Open Track who have done loads and developing sites. I should say they're letting us use the service for free when normally we'd have had to have paid for it. So that's Gus Upton, Andy Robinson, Andy Weir, Paddy Clark. And then also shout outs. Also probably need to go to yourself and Massey, who have done a lot on the event presentation side as well. Helping me deal with queries on Twitter where I've missed them as well, which have been fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible where it came together. I mean, we tried. I just tried a Southern Road relay against Cambridge and Coleridge, but what it was me and Jonathan Escalante Phillips on Facebook just declaring our team one by one by what time we thought they might do, and that created a little bit of interest, especially from athletes from Tunbridge that I put down for a slower time than they thought they might do, and they got a bit upset. But this is the real thing. But I'm sure we'll have people comparing their actual courses they ran, and one had a slight incline or something like that. There'd be some excuses after the event, perhaps. But yeah,
someone at Open Track I was speaking to the other day suggested they should add a Vaporfly assisted button as well onto the entry software, which I thought was quite an interesting idea.
Yeah, good one. Yeah. Well, we won't get into that now. You had enough of
no, probably not a good idea
before the coronavirus. Yeah. So what have been the major issues, do you think, in bringing this together? In terms of, it started off as a very simple idea. I remember you saying at one stage we might get 300 people doing it, and of course 5,000 slightly different. So, and also once you get into the detail, quite a few questions are thrown at you and points are thrown up, as we know, and we've tried to answer. But what have you seen? What surprised you in putting a link together in the terms of the difficulties?
I guess it's just the technical aspects, making sure people had entered correctly, I guess, was the main thing. At the time, there's quite a few people that had just managed to either miss the stage by mistake when entering. Just making sure they'd got their name connected to their club, so they're actually able to score for the club, that kind of thing. Dealing with kind of day-to-day queries like that, that's probably been the main thing that's taken the time. I guess compared to a normal event, though, I haven't obviously had to deal with any of like the health and safety or too much of the setup stuff. In terms of we've had a few concerns around the social distancing side of things. We had obviously with 5,000 entries, it's something we've had to make a real effort on to make sure everyone's kind of complying with the government guidance. So we've had it on had it in big letters on the entry system all week, just saying make sure you're trying to run. Obviously, you have to run solo, making sure you're avoiding busy parks. Try and run as quiet roads, ideally if you can.
Yeah.
And also, I know I've stressed that clearly in the entry in the entry email that's gone out to everyone as well today. This is one rule that we're going to probably enforce heavily. It'll be that one. If we're seeing people running in groups, then we probably will have to be a little bit harsh on teams if we see that happening. But hopefully that won't.
So an email has gone out or going out now? Is that it?
I believe the email went out around about to everyone between about 2 and 3 o'clock today, and that should have that has the details for submitting results, plus a few kind of other extra things as well in there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, from my point of view, rather than everybody leave it to the last minute and go to the same place, I've tried to give about 10 options to places around our local area to people, and made the point, you've got to from Saturday morning till pretty much midnight on Wednesday, haven't you, to do it? So you can do it any time in that period. So, and all those people would be out for a run anyway at one stage or another, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, I noticed the Tunbridge site actually thought done a really good job pulling together the links you put out on the Tunbridge site with the 10 different routes. But yeah, initially I think we were going to do it just on the Saturday, and then when we realised we were going to get a lot more entries than we initially were, we thought, well, we need to be responsible here. We're going to expand it. So now we've given everyone a 5-day window. Yeah, and like you say, everyone that's out there will be. I tend to be kind of seasoned club runners, so they will be going out. They've probably been going out during those 5 days to run anyway. I think a lot of people are just planning to incorporate it as part of their regular training session. I know a lot of the Hallamshire lads I've spoken to are planning to do that kind of thing. Yeah.
And when it comes to GPS watches, I had to ask one of our guys, because I have used one, but it's been a long time since I ran. But I think most watches, you can set like 1K splits and then pick up a 5K finishing time. Even the basic versions seem to be able to do that. So it should just, if you know what your watch is about, it will just stop after 5K, won't it?
Yeah, it should be simple enough to do that. I've always been slightly old school, and I think with mine, I'll probably just set the watch to kilometres, and after it's vibrated at me 5 times for 5K, I'll probably I'll just stop. I don't tend to bother doing using the countdown feature on it, but I know that's something a lot of the more techie guys amongst us are able to sort of sort out. The good thing is about with just GPS watches is that now almost everyone nowadays seems to have one, which has kind of enabled us to do this kind of event. I suspect if this had been like 10, 15 years ago when they were much less kind of common, it might have been slightly harder to have run an event kind of like this.
Yeah, I must admit, of all our lot, I've only had one person had that technical issue, and that's because the strap on his watch had split, and he couldn't use it. And I just said, why don't you tape it into your shorts or something like that, and just use it like that, which he thought was a brilliant idea. So that's what he was going to do. Yeah.
The other we actually had someone email him with a similar issue earlier, and someone that came with quite an ingenious solution. Someone else did actually, saying the Strava app on your phone measures distance as well, so you can actually just take your phone with you, and that should measure the distance of the run. So if you haven't got a GPS watch, you can just use your phone to measure it.
Okay.
Which is quite cool.
Yeah. Now, obviously, wind and hills and things like that, that will affect times. But you have mentioned elevation, and it was a little bit vague when you're going to disqualify somebody because they've actually run downhill. Have you thought about this?
Yeah, we're trying to be. I mean, the whole point of the event is to be quite relaxed. We're trying to make it relaxed. We're trying to make it informal. So I've sort of tried not to specify a clear elevation rule. I know the Belgrave Herne Hill event had a quite nice way of phrasing that rule, which I probably shouldn't say now. But I'm probably thinking anything over kind of we're going to use start finish points, and I'm kind of thinking anything over 30 feet elevation decline is going to be slightly iffy.
Yeah.
Ideally, we're definitely going to be disqualifying people if someone's done a really downhill route. We'll probably add some seconds to their time. We've got the capacity to that, and that's the same if someone's made a mistake and stops at 4.8k or something, we've got capacity to add like an extra 30 seconds, minute to their time or something to kind of account for what we think is fair. So
yeah, I must admit, I looked up the world bests and how they work out, and it says 1 meter per kilometre. So that would be 5 meters or about 15 feet. So if there was a downhill overall by more than 15 meters, 5 meters or 15 feet, it wouldn't be considered for a world best. So you're doubling the leniency there. And of course, I think, to be honest, if somebody is in the fastest laps and it's clearly run downhill, colleagues will rip into them, I should imagine, and embarrass them on social media.
I'd hope so. I was talking to someone the other day, actually. It was quite a decent 1500 meter runner who said he lives like at the bottom of a valley either side of his house, and he was saying, I don't think he's doing this, but he was saying he's going to go one day. He's going to start at the top of the hill and run home for a mile, and he's going to go for a sub 4 minute mile and see if he can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it should be quite interesting. Now, how will the results go up? Once it's happened, how do you envisage they will be displayed against each entrant, or what would happen?
We believe they should. I haven't looked at the open track system yet. They're just finalising development now, but my impression is it will be a live results system. So there'll be the instructions have gone out for like a form that people can populate, and they'll be able to put the time they've run in and their Strava link, and then that should automatically populate the results page as time goes on with their results. I don't think it's going to be quite live results. I think it's going to be set to update every 15 minutes or every hour or so. That's just because of the volume of entries. If it was updating regularly, it would crash. So
yeah.
So we've set so it won't quite be live, but it will be fairly regular that people should be able to check up and see what other clubs have done, which I'm hoping should stoke a little bit of rivalry up between clubs, a little bit of banter going.
It's certainly going to stop people getting bored for 5 days, isn't it? Because when they're not running, they'll be just on that all the time, I should imagine, just checking up. How about grass and tracks and things like that?
We're trying to avoid. We're trying to say no tracks, trying to avoid tracks where possible. I think most people have. I think most tracks in the country here are shut anyway at the moment, so I don't see that being a problem.
Not, are they? I think
in America, ideally, we want people to avoid tracks. Grass isn't an issue because it's a slower surface. We'll say, that would be an interesting one. I think people might. I'd be surprised if too many people used grass, to be honest, just given it being a slower surface. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, and interest from the media. You said to me that Fast Running are doing a piece. You hope, is that right?
Yep. So I think Fast Running are putting something out in the next day or two. I know Athletics Weekly are as well on their online servers now.
Oh yeah, because they're suspended at the moment, aren't they? In terms of the Oh, so they're going to do something. Who's from AW? Who's actually reporting on it? Got any idea?
I think it's Jess Whittingham.
Okay, right.
He's their web editor. Yeah. I know their results guy Steve Smythe has also been involved as well.
Yeah, I know Steve. I'll try and tag him in and make him sure he gets this, so he gets all the answers. And what about the future? Future of events like this. I mean, this. Have you heard of any others apart from that Belgrave one? I haven't picked up on anything else particularly yet. So this would be the first big one, won't it?
I think it's the first big one. I think there's a Scottish one that's running concurrently actually to us at the moment. I saw something on Strava earlier. I think Chris Jones had gone and run, and it was on a sub 14 or it was a low 14.
Really?
Minute 5k as part of a Scottish road relay leg. Although we have got Scottish clubs in this one as well. I know we've got a big central AC contingent.
Yeah, because they normally do the national road relay. Yeah.
But I think, particularly at the moment, I think it's something that could really take off. I know from conversations with Open Track, a few of the governing bodies I don't know how much I can say, but I know a few of the governing bodies are sort of exploring the options of open track of what kind of things they can offer as well at the moment.
Mm.
So I suspect there might well be similar events to this sort of coming out over the next couple of months, or however long this lasts for.
Well, that's right. I mean, this could go on for some time with the coronavirus. Who knows, before we get back to live running. And I was talking to one of our lads, and he was moaning that he was in pretty good shape. And apart from this, he didn't have anything to motivate himself and go forward to. And I said, well, you never know. There might be some England and GP selections or inter-counties or whatever events over all sorts of distances after this. It'd be quite funny how it could develop. But
yeah, I'll be interested to know how they if they manage to do something for the shorter distances. How they actually go about doing it. To be honest, I'm not sure how you're going to manage to do a virtual shot put or a virtual javelin, but
no,
I guess with video technology, it might be possible. But.
I was talking to some of our sprint and hurdlers and multi-event guys at the club, and it's so hard for them to keep motivated. You know, distance runners are really lucky because they can run. They've got a GPS watch. They've got Strava. They've got this. They've got all sorts of things to keep themselves reasonably motivated with. But for multi events and swimmers and people like that, it's so difficult.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
well, I saw the guy as a javelin thrower as well a couple of days ago who did that run that marathon in his back garden as well, which is amazing. Like raised loads of money for the NHS as well, I think.
Yeah, and that's something we'd like people to at least make a donation, to a charity taking part in this if we could, and it'd be good if they could. We haven't got anything set up as such, but it was a free entry, so you'd like to think they'd give some sort of entry fee to charity at least somewhere, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I know it's something Open Track are exploring. The option, particularly for future events, to add charitable donations to coronavirus-related charities as part of those events. It was because we kind of rushed this out quite quickly to make sure we kind of got in within the day the relays were meant to be taking place. It wasn't really something that was thought about until kind of only a couple of days ago, and they've had other priorities to like build the results software, unfortunately. Yeah. But I know definitely for future events, it would be really cool if there was the option for people to add charitable donations.
Hopefully, people would do it voluntarily. If they can, that'd be really good. One event I heard suggested by Let'sRun.com was if the world's top milers did a time trial on their own about the same time, dotted all around the world. A dozen of them say.
Yeah.
They had to do it at whatever time, British time or American time, and do it, and then their coach or someone standing there to verify or film it, and then they posted that up somewhere. I thought that would be pretty cool to see something like that, what you could actually do on their own. So I think the sky's the limit a little bit, really.
Yeah, that'd be pretty remarkable. I mean, we've already got Jake Whiteman on board and Charlie Grice on board with this one as well. So hopefully they're interested in this. They might well be interested in doing a virtual mile.
So finally, well, have you got anything else to say? You particularly want to
add? Don't think I've got anything else to add from.
So finally, it all kicks off tomorrow morning, Saturday, the 4th of April, and people will start running 5Ks. Of those 5,000 odd people, how many people do you think will follow through and run a 5K? Fancy having a stab at it?
Ooh.
Will all those top guys we've mentioned do it? Will they run one and think, oh, no, I'm a bit embarrassed by that, I'm not going to post that anywhere? What's your feeling on those sort of things?
Should we have a sweepstake? And we should also have a sweepstake and put some money on it or something. How many people run? Well, it's a tricky one because I don't think the attrition rate would be as high as it is for a one-off event where people have to travel to it. So something like national, where everyone puts like loads of entries in and then half of them don't run. Yeah. But I'd like to think maybe 4,000. Maybe I'm big. I think maybe somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 we'll get. Would be my guess.
I think you're probably right. Yeah. And what about the fastest men and women's sort of lap times? What sort of times do you think they'll record?
Well, they've been saying. I know Johnny's stats said on the men's side we've got 29 sub 14. So I'd like to think maybe at least one of them might be able to get something in the 13s. I think it sounds like Chris Jones might have already managed it on the Scottish ones, so
Right.
it's a little bit of a marker down.
Yeah.
I think on the women's side, I think potential for at least a low 16 is there, maybe even a sub 16. I think as well. I think there's similar numbers to the 29 sub 14. I think there's a similar number that are sub 16, 30 on the women's side. So
yeah,
I'll be optimistic. There's some interesting entries in there. I'm looking forward to seeing how people get on. The great thing about the 5K distance is it kind of appeals. It can appeal to people who are, people who are both 800 meter specialists. And I've seen quite a few of them in there.
Yeah.
Also, then all the way up to like your marathoners and your longer distance guys. Guys like your Dowie Griffiths, your Josh Griffiths. Dowie and Josh Griffiths.
And I guess you've got quite a few individuals that aren't in complete teams, so they will still get a time and get shown on the system. And yeah. Brilliant. Well, that's terrific, James. I'll wrap up the interview here. If you just hold on, I'll have a word with you afterwards, but I'll just stop recording. And we wish everyone well who's going to give it a crack. So well done.